Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown into. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play and hanging out with me. I hope you like what you see. Maybe tell me what you're stitching. Join in on our swaps or our color challenges or all sorts of fun stuff that we have going on here. I'm so happy you're here. And if you're a returning stitching friend, well, you know how much I am grateful, how grateful I am. That was really good English. Don't tell Mo, he's the grammar guy in the family. How grateful I am that you're here and how much fun I have talking stitching with you and doing all sorts of this fun stuff. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you as well. This is another big thank you for all of you who checked in on me last week because I didn't have a video. If you are new, I try very, very, very hard to film and upload Fridays. Sometimes it's Saturdays if the uploading process goes slow. Well, last week I filmed Thursday night because we were traveling up on Friday morning to bring Connor back to school. So we were going to be away for the weekend. So I thought, okay, I was ahead of the game, got myself ready. I filmed, tried uploading, wouldn't work. I said, okay, I'll go to bed. I'll upload it overnight. And before we leave, I'll do, I didn't even have to. I figured once we got to Connecticut, because that was our first stop, then I would just do all the stuff and upload the video. It didn't do it. Wouldn't upload overnight at all. So I said, all right, well, when we get to Connecticut, I'll try again and plug into Wi-Fi there and try to upload. I tried for hours and hours. I never got more than 40% uploaded, and I decided it really wasn't meant to be, and I wasn't going to stress over it. We had a lot going on the weekend, so sometimes you just have to know when to say enough's enough. And that video is completely deleted. It's off everywhere. I don't have it on my phone or anything. So I just decided that I would skip the week and start fresh this week. But so many of you reached out and said such kind things, and thank you so much for that. I don't have the words for it. Just know that I really appreciated it. It meant a lot. So that's that. I do have lots of stitching to show you this week. Some of the pieces that I would have shown you last week, I didn't work on this week. And because I have so much, I said, I'm not going to show them. I thought about it, but this video is already going to be long. I hope you have your coffee or your tea or your whatever ready to go and a nice, good stitching project because there's a lot. So there'll be a few pieces that I had worked on that you won't see till the next time I work on them. Maybe this week I'll make an effort coming up. We'll see. I have lots of starts for today. But at some point, it'll just be lots of extra progress when you see them. Some of the projects that I did work on from last week, I worked on again this week. And then, of course, there's always some new things that I throw in there. I did have 2 finishes. One you would have seen last week. So now you see 2 this week. One I just finished yesterday. And then I did have a start this week. One last start in the month of August. I squeaked it in, I don't know, a couple days ago. So you'll get to see that as well. Before I do show you my stitching, I did want to do a shout out. There's a fairly new Flosstuber. She's got her 3rd video just came out. Her name is Jen, and her channel is Stitching Shenanigans. So Jen, welcome to Flosstube, and I've so enjoyed starting to get to know you and your stitching. She is I'm so excited. Not only does she have some fun projects, but she's also participating in our trading card swap, and the piece that she is currently working on for the swap is adorable. I mean, crazy adorable. I can't wait to see it fully finished, well, fully stitched and then finished. I can't wait to see what you do, Jen. So I will link her down below if you'd like to check her out and see what she's got stitching and all sorts of other stuff, fun stuff. And then I had gotten some questions. I mentioned scrapbooking my stitches as well as the trading cards. And so every once in a while, obviously I have new people, and I sometimes forget that you wouldn't have seen my previous videos. And so I talk about these things like, you should know. I do have videos about scrapbooking my stitches, so I don't have a lot of space. If I'm going to display it, it's going to be in this one little general craft room area. So I don't have a lot of space to put things, and I just want to have it in a nice, neat area So it'd be a nice memory for my children down the road, years and years and years down the road, right? So I scrapbook my stitches. I was a scrapbooker for many, many years when I was paper crafting, much more than I am now. And I thought, well, why couldn't I combine it? So I do have 4 videos on scrapbooking your stitches. And I promise I will do a flip through of my scrapbooks when they get a little fuller, because I really want to have, you know, a lot to show you. I'm hoping maybe during Flossmas this year that if I get myself moving and finish some more pieces, I will be able to show you some flip throughs. And I have 3 different size scrapbooks going, so I can show you all the different things that I do. But there are 4 videos that you can watch in a playlist. There's also trading card videos. One recently I did about the swap that we're doing, and I do talk about trading cards, but I have some previous ones as well that explain exactly what I'm doing. I actually do finish a couple trading cards within the video, and so on and so forth. So you can go back and look for those. Of course, always ask questions, because I'm happy to answer anything. I may answer it and then say, for more information, check XYZ. But please don't be afraid to ask. Even if it's been asked 1,000 times, if this is your first video, you wouldn't have known that. So I'm happy to help you out. All right, so that's that. Let's get to some stitching. This is the 3rd time I'm doing this video, so I don't remember what I said from this video. And the first 2, I can hear them. They are determined to mow and do all of the landscaping in our community on Friday mornings. So I can hear in the distance all of the different lawn things that happen. And so a couple times I've had to stop and start, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully they won't end up right outside this window like they seem to do every Friday morning when I film. All right, so the first piece I want to show you is Summer Quaker from Lila Studio. I am doing this as a stitch along with several people, but the one that reached out first was Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher. Beth and I were actually starting something today, but we have a lot of the same likes in our stitching, and so we actually have quite a few things that we stitch together. Beth also has a Facebook group called Crafts and Books, which is lovely, and she does several Zooms a week. Like they're standing times. My Zooms are kind of, you know, back and forth. I've thought about maybe next week trying to get a Zoom in. We'll see. The week after, I know for a fact I most likely will do a Zoom. So keep your ears open. If I will mention it not only in my Facebook group, but if I do like an off the cuff, on the fly kind of Zoom, I'll mention it in the community tab here. But anyway, Beth and I started a stitch along, and we actually started stitching this on a Zoom on the first day of summer, and the hashtag is Summer by the Shore, SAL. So if you would like to join us, or you want to check out what it has been put on there, check it out. I have been horrible. I'm an awful Instagrammer. I really am. I freely admit it. I join all these sales. I start several of them, and then I don't always show them. But, you know, eventually I do get stuff up there. So just bear with me. This is where I am. So excited. I am switching between this piece and Black Vintage Sampler every other week. You get to see those 2, and I will continue that at least through the end of this year. So each piece is getting twice a month stitching, and I try to get in almost 500 if I can, or over. So that would be 1,000 stitches a month. So that would be something. But this, I'm so excited. This time around when I stitch this, I don't know if you can see that in the camera. You can see it in person. It's the little shell down here. This is the border similar to this, and that comes down right below the shell, and that's the bottom corner. So excited. So I have everything. Let me look at the picture. That would be on, did I do that fish? Yes, I did. Everything that would be on this side of the border up will be done once that's finished. Super, super excited. Unlike Spring Quaker, I have not changed any colors in this piece. And I mean, I've pretty much done almost all the colors, I would think, and I really like them. This is an 18 count. Look at this. It's a big piece. 18 count Nantucket Sky by Fabrics by Stephanie. One of my absolute favorite stitches or fabrics to stitch on. Now, you can see it, part of why I use this is it has always that cloud-like appearance, which is why I love using it for outdoor stitches. In the pattern itself, on either side up here, there are clouds that are stitched. One, I don't know if it eats into the, no, I think the sun kind of goes over the clouds. So I would stitch the sun, but I will not stitch the clouds, and I'll see what that area looks like. I think it'll look nice, and I don't think I'll need it. Sometimes I feel like clouds are kind of redundant on this fabric just because it already has that look. So why not lean into this look and go from there, right? So here it is one last time. Black Vintage Sampler will come out this week, and you wouldn't have seen progress from last, because that would have been last video. So you'll actually get 2 stitching sessions worth of stitching on that one. So I'm so excited. I have not gotten down to the end on that one, but I am actually hitting into the last page on one side. So excited. Okay, here's my first finish of the 2, and this is the one you would have seen last week. This is Midnight Watch, and it's by Blackbird Designs. Mine has looked radically different for a multitude of reasons. First off, I didn't use this fabric color. Went totally in a different direction. So the colors will show differently because of that. Secondly, I didn't do the outer border, any of the border, nor the alphabet or stuff down here. So it's really this element was what caught my attention. And so that's the piece I'm going to do. I love taking bits and pieces from patterns, do it all the time. If there's something that catches my eye for a pattern, I think, well, why not just stitch that? Sometimes I like to stitch the whole piece, sometimes not. So there it is. I love this. This is done on an 18 count Bewitched from To Die For fabrics. And I absolutely love it. When I saw this pattern, the first thing that jumped out at me was the moon and the cat. And so I wanted that to be the focus. Now, we talked about last time, you would have seen this, about what I was gonna do over here. So there was a leaf over here, but I would have had to radically change the color of the floss, because I did have to change this floss color, the green you see here, because it was, the called for was blending in completely with the fabric. I started to stitch it over here, if you remember, but it was blending in with the house. So it just looked kind of like a weird extension of the house, and you wouldn't have known what it was to begin with, right? So I thought about it. If you can see here, this does come down a little bit. I did put that in, and then I said, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna think about it. So I looked and I looked at it. And I know I asked you all about it, and some of you said it was fine, some said it needed something, and I could see both of your reasoning. Both made sense. Do you know what I mean? In the end, I ended up keeping it this way. I talk a lot about visual triangles, and I talk about rule of thirds and odds and all sorts of things like that when I'm looking at some of these pieces and when I decide to stop. And I decided this had made a really nice triangle right here. And so that's what I wanted to stop at. So with this triangle, the peak of it is my focal point. That's what I want you to see first. And then your eye will travel down and it'll travel over. I decided I didn't want something else there, because then that would kind of make that a little bit unbalanced, and I wouldn't have that nice kind of look and what I was going for with the eyes traveling. So this is how I ended up and finishing it. Now, this will be scrapbooked, so who knows? I may end up put something over on that side, and it may change that dynamic, but the stitching part I wanted to keep like this. So thank you for everybody who weighed in. I really thought about each and every one of your opinions, and then stitched it and let it sit for a while before I did decide to call it for this. So this was stitched with Sarah from Sarah's Stitches. There's a lot of Sarahs out there that do floss tubes. I will link Sarah in the description box below. And we had decided to call this hashtag bbdmidnightwatchsal. That was our stitch along name. So now, excitingly enough, I will take a picture of this, hopefully. I thought about it. Do I take a picture here? Do I wait until it's scrapbooked? Maybe I do both. But I'd love to get this up there under the hashtag. So I may shock everybody and actually put some more stitching on my Instagram. But yeah, super excited to get that one done. And looking forward to doing some more Blackbird. I think that was my very first Blackbird, I think. And I really, really enjoyed it. I know I kind of veered from the traditional look of it, but I really like how it came out. Okay, so next, if you are new, I have recently started something in my Facebook page called Color Challenges. Now this is the very second one. They last for 2 weeks. You would have seen this last week because this will go now until next Tuesday. I will do the third color challenge. But what I do is I find a picture that pulls out colors and I challenge both you here on Flosstube and my Facebook friends on my Facebook page group to find a piece that uses at least 2 of those colors, whether it's your fabric, your flosses, maybe it's your finishing and you're finishing it pulling in one of those colors. I'm not putting lots of rules in it. It's more how to get you to think about color. So I did, because it's still number 2, I decided that I wanted to, ease you in on maybe some of the more difficult ones. And so this is the one that I chose for this past 2 weeks. Feel free to join along. And if you do, let me know what you stitch. I'd love to either see it or just let me know in the comments or whatever matches. These colors are your traditional fall colors. So I figured it would be on the easy side for people to find things to pull out. I have 2 pieces to show you for the color challenge. One, it pretty much is traditional with some of these colors. I didn't pick out all of them, but I do have 3 of them out of the 5. The second one is out of the box, is a little bit different. And I know some people, when they showed on the Facebook page what they were stitching, did go in a completely different direction. And it's so cool for me to see how each of you interpret that. And so I love it. Thank you so much for those who do participate. This is what I chose for the first piece. This is from Frony Ritter Designs and it's Celtic Pumpkin. I probably started this last October because in October, it's my birthday month. And so I like to celebrate all month with some fun stitching, and we do a hashtag pumpkin birthday stitch along. I've done it. This will be my 3rd year, I believe. And so I repeat that hashtag every year, and that way we can see lots of fun stuff. So I probably started this last year. It's not a very big piece, but it kind of sat because while I'm not a seasonal stitcher, I do get drawn to a lot of summer stuff and nautical, so that always seems to take first dibs. But here we go. This is where I am. So you can see you have obviously the green was brought in from the color challenge. There are multiple oranges, and then it goes all the way to a yellow here. You go from dark to lighter orange to kind of that in-between orange yellow to yellow. Now where you see all of this, that is charted to be beads. And I've just started a mill hill, and the only time I've ever done beads before, I put some on one of my trading cards. But I thought this is kind of a nice small piece. We'll give it a go and we'll see what happens. What's really nice and what I really appreciate about Frony Ritter is they not only do they give the beads, but if for whatever reason you can't bead, maybe it's dexterity, maybe you just don't like it, maybe you don't want it, whatever the reason, they do give DMC conversions for the beads. So this could be completely stitched without any beads, which I think is wonderful. I appreciate that extra step that they take so that they include every type of person who's stitching, for whatever their wants and needs are. Now I am doing this on an 18 count. It's Barely Lime from Dove Stitch. Now the model was stitched on a 28 count and they used regular Mill Hill beads. If I remember correctly, because I think I've had questions since I use 18 almost exclusively, and a lot of times the beading is bigger. If I use 18, there's a smaller version of Mill Hill, right? And I think there's conversion charts. correct me if I'm wrong. So if I put in, say, one of them, for example, is Mill Hill, whatever number, Autumn Flame. If I put that in, I can find a smaller bead version, correct? That Mill Hill beads sells, right? If I'm completely wrong on that, tell me what I need to do instead. But I think that's the way it goes. I haven't bought the beads yet because I'm nowhere near needing them. There's three different colors. There's 2 within the pumpkin, and then there's another batch of green around the border. Of the 3, I don't know if the green border one I may or may not do, because it may blend in with this fabric, so we'll see. But I'm not, that's for future Laura to worry about. This is where I am right now. I've got a ways to go yet. But it's a fun stitch. I really enjoy it. I actually did this on the car ride back on Monday, and because discounting, I wasn't sure I was up to it in the car. So I ended up doing so this is completely done, and now I'm got the 4 leaves in the corner. So exciting. We'll see. I will definitely try to pull that out for this October, for the birthday stitch along, but you know, you never know when you see it. Alrighty, next. What's funny is this is also number 2 in my color challenge, but it is completely different, and what you wouldn't think of as autumn and fall. So this was the set of colors, remember. I'm gonna show you those first. That's what they look like. And then if I go back to my photos, and I'll turn it this way so you can see it full. That's actually what I'm doing. You see, you've got the different shades of oranges from darker to light. You've got the greens, you've got the yellows, and you've even got the maroons. So this has, I think, all 5 colors in the color challenge, but a totally different vibe and thing. So you can see where you can change out and go in different directions. This was not a planned start for me. This is from Stitches So Beautiful, and it is Lazlo Koday #1. It doesn't have a title besides that. The artwork is by Lazlo Koday, and it is charted by Stitches So Beautiful, which is an Etsy shop. Try to say that fast. And I'm doing it on my general 18 count white Aida when you see it. Originally, this was not the plan. I was going to start, do I have it here? I do. I was going to start this one. So my friend Amy and I, hi Amy, we Zoom together and we stitch together and we chat and we do all that kind of stuff. And we were both going to start this one because we both really like this. And we were all set the day right before I got on Zoom, I had everything and all that, and then I second guessed it. And I was texting her before we got on, and then we chatted when we chatted. And up here, so I was gonna use my white Aida, right? It's all clouds, and then look at all of this and all this stuff up top. And I really started to second guess, did I wanna stitch all that, to be honest with you? And we chatted and chatted, and I think what we came up with was, I think I would like to do a hand-dyed fabric, or whether it's hand-dyed by hand dyer, or maybe I find something from Zweigart, whatever the case may be. And maybe Dove Stitch, because those are printed, so maybe I could find something there. And I'm going to take out the sky and the clouds and not do them once I figure out how to do that on my chart, and just stitch all of the other stuff. Now that of course means I need different fabric, and I even thought about trying it on 20 count just to do something different. So we switched midstream. I had this piece and Amy really liked it, and so we decided to start this one instead. So that's what you're going to see. And some point down the line, you will see that others, I think it's called Summer Cottages, but this is what I have. It's not a huge start. I didn't bring this with me, and I was gone all weekend, so I was gone Friday to Monday. So it really just got a little bit of a start. And then the last couple days I have stitched on it. And that's where it is. I love all the different purples it's starting with. I always start in the upper left-hand corner, so that's why all my full coverages always look like the corners. And then I will either go from one direction or the other. It is a fairly big piece. I can't remember if it's something like a 400 by 400. So you can see it's going to be pretty wide, and that's the halfway mark. That's, you have double the fabric from there. One of the few places that I do give myself 3-inch margins is full coverages. Otherwise, I'm pretty fluid with what kind of margin I give myself, especially if I know it's going to be scrapbooked. This is 18 count white aida, 2 strands over 1, full cross. And this is actually a little bit bigger, actually thinking about it, than I need, because this was cut for, that's right, so this piece is not as wide as this. This was cut for summer cottages. And I said, you know, I will just stitch on this. It certainly was long enough in both directions. Any extra I'll cut off. Maybe I'll use it for trading cards or some other type of thing. So that's where I am. I won't stitch on this today because I have lots of starts to do, but this will get at least another, I think through next Thursday, if I looked at my rotation. So that will be a piece that you will see next week, and my rotation ends on Thursday. So still a chance to see plenty of that going forward. I think I have about 600 stitches in it so far. So another 5 days, I could easily get at least 1,000 to start with. So I'm super excited about that. Alrighty, next, this one I am chugging along. This will be a finish by the end of the year. That I know. This is the 2023 Prairie Schooler Santa. Again, I radically changed up the fabric. I am not stitching the words, and I'm not stitching the broken line border. And I think I will stitch everything, and then up here I may add a few more snowflakes. You'll see when I show you. So here he is. Here's Santa. Let me even fold him over more. I have been really looking forward to trying Santa on a blue. And I mean, with all of the white that's in this one, with all the snowflakes, I thought it was a perfect one to try with because the snowflakes just pop around Santa. Santa is done, completely done. I am now, and all of the snowflakes are done. I'm now working on the lantern, and then I will decide what to do here. In the end, well, see, I did stitch, I could take that out if I decided not to do anything, but I feel like maybe a few more. I mean, I can do whatever I want because I'm not doing the border. But this is very, very close to a finish. I don't know when it'll get picked up again, whether this week or it'll go put to the side for the moment. This is done on an 18 count unnamed fabric. It was in my bin of fabric scraps, so I don't have any idea what it is. I've mentioned before though, I know Fiber on a Whim has something that's pretty close, and I'm sure lots of other hand dyers do as well. It's a really nice color that I'm sure you could see and get replicated by other hand dyers. So that's where it is. I love it. This definitely is one that I will push for a finish for the end of the year. No question about that one. All right, next. Super excited. Stone Street Stitchworks is back. They were gone from Etsy, not gone, but they were on vacation on Etsy for, I'd say, weeks and weeks, if not months. A good portion of the summer, I think. And I just checked because I wanted to show you a picture of this piece, if I could, in color versus just the black and white that I've printed out. They're back, and they have a Labor Day sale. So through, I think, the end of Monday, they have, I don't know if it's 15% off. So if you are looking for some Stone Street stitches, I would say go over there. They have some really, really fun stuff. This is not the first stitch of theirs I've done. I've done several. So this is called Bookhouse. That's what it'll eventually look like. I did change the fabrics, I don't want to say radically, but I did go in a different direction than what's here. And here it is. This fabric is so fun. This is an 18 count Sunstone from Bestitchme, and I love it. I love, love, love it. I was thinking, if you remember, I haven't fully finished the trading card yet, but I stitched a little squirrel for the trading card. I thought, oh, he'd be really cute here, but I would do him in a more brown. That one is kind of a DMC variegated of browns and oranges and things like that. But I would do a little bit different on this fabric if I did it. But isn't this fabric great? I did want an autumn vibe, which is why I chose this fabric. And I absolutely love it. I don't think I have to change. I had thought about changing colors of some of the flosses because they're definitely on the prim side, and I can appreciate it, but I generally I gravitate more to the brights. But I thought with this fabric, it'll be really nice. And so I decided to keep it. And that's where we are right now. I did pull this piece out because I was awful and neglectful, and I didn't do my Scattergories for Whip Warriors, which is a Facebook group, is currently closed. They will reopen in December, I believe. And it was the end of it was the last week of the month, and I've stitched, but I hadn't really jumped on any of their things because I thought I was going to do Scattergories, and then I hadn't done Scattergories. So I had to pull out different tea kind of things, and one is either a plant or an animal. Well, these are trees. So I pulled this out and I used the prompt trees for this one, for stitching on this one. So that's why this got some stitching time. It's amazingly small. It looks way bigger on the screen than it does in real life. When I cut the fabric, I was like, wow, this is gonna be tiny. But I think it's gonna be super cute. Love it. So that's where that is right now. And that purely came out as a Scattergories piece. Anything else you've seen so far? I don't think so. I think the other Scattergories stuff I'm coming up to. I wanted to get a little bit more stitching in on this one. This is August's Poppies from Cottage Garden Samplings. It's part of their Garden Journal series, 12-month series. So I did do a little bit more of that. And there we are. That's what it looks like. This is done on 18 count Amber Wave from Atomic Ranch. I wanted something that was kind of beachy feel. And I had gotten this this Amber Waves, and I said, oh, that's kind of pretty. Now the white does fade in a little bit. I'd say in person, it's much easier to see than it is on the screen. And so I finished all the way up here. I finished the border. This is the end, thank goodness, because I have no more fabric. And then I did almost all of this. I think one of the colors is completely done. And then I have another blue and white to fill in the rest of the border here, the waves border. And then I don't know if I'll do I might leave the words. I think I might do, look at how pretty those poppies are. That's for next August stitching. So I'll worry about it next August, unless it comes out for a prompt. That could always happen. These are good if I want to use them for some sort of stitching game or whatever. But for now, this one's going to go away until next August. And I will be stitching on September this month. Okay. This is funny because in last week's video, I called it the wrong thing. I was channeling my channel name, and instead of Summer at the Shore, I think I called it Stitching at the Shore, which you can see why I might make that mistake. This is called Summer at the Shore. It's another Cottage Garden Samplings. And this is part of the Time for All Seasons series, number 8. Now, my chart, and I'm not sure if they're corrected at this point, my chart, the color of that looks white here, it's actually gray. It's 762, I believe. It is incorrect. It's incorrect on the chart itself. It is 7865, which I knew was wrong for the DMC alternative. And so they do have corrections on the website for that piece. So if you stitch this and you say, ooh, that seems kind of odd, check the website. Again, I kind of veered from the called for fabric and I went in a different direction. This one was also stitched for Scattergories because one of the prompts is color. So I used teal for the fabric. And I am almost done with all of the sails here. I have some stitching there and half the boat is done. And then I would have been farther, but I counted wrong and I had all of that red in. It's kind of a maroonish red. It's really pretty. I can't remember what color it is, but I had all of it one row too high, I think. And so it wasn't matching with the top of the lighthouse. And then all the way down, I would have had to kind of fudge it. And I decided that wasn't worth it. So I did have some pulling out of stitches to do. So I didn't get as far along here. I mean, the lighthouse will be fun because it's pretty blocky stitching, but I really wanted to get that color in to see how it looked against this blue, and I love it. I'm really enjoying this this color. This is 18 count compelling Conchis, and it is from Those Missing Stitches, and they are on Etsy. And I absolutely love it. I love it so much you're going to see another piece being stitched on it as well. And I love, love, love how this, I think it's 762, but don't quote me on that. I love how that's popping. Now there is another gray here with the sails that, you know, kind of the, I don't know, would that be the mast? I don't know exactly. That blends in a little bit on screen, but in person you can see it. And when you get to that color in the seagull, it's surrounded by lots of other stuff, so I'm not worried about it. That's the only one I would have considered changing, but I don't think I need to. I love it. So that got some extra stitches in this week so that I could do my Scattergories. I was in danger. Whip Warriors, they do expect participation in something. And if you don't do the games, you don't have to. You can have an album and they just check your albums and you update your albums. And, you know, they do say, you know, we do need you. We do expect participation, otherwise we'd have to take you from the group. And I was like, I was in danger of being kicked out. So I had to do my Scattergories. All right, next. This one is Summer Signs. I know it's Signs Series Summer, but for me to remember, I call it Summer Signs. And I pulled this one out because Twin Peak Primitives is my designer, my T lettered designer for Scattergories. And this one's fun to do. This one is actually fairly blocky, which is nice. I'm finding that several of my smaller stitches have that kind of not huge confetti or a lot of color changes, which is nice because it seems like my full coverages always have a ton of color changes. And sometimes you just need something that's a little less brain thought using, right? Whatever I'm trying to say there, you know what I'm trying to say. This is an 18 count Caramel Macchiato from Fabrics by Stephanie. It's a great color. Really, really love it. And I'm plugging along. This is completely new. I have all the words on the first row and then a good portion of the yellow for the top of the row. That'll be some easy stitching because, you know, you just stitch around the letters. And this will be the center of, you know, kind of where it's kind of like a tiered tray or those kinds of things, a tier. This is the center, and so you'll come down this way. Now on this center one, and I have to pull out some graph paper, but I'm going to put Delaware there instead because that's where I live if you're new. And I think every single letter that I need is in those 3 tiers in a letter, so I don't even have to chart my own letters, which is kind of cool. So lots of fun and just plugging away on that. I have a lot of summer pieces here. I prefer summer to winter, not gonna lie, when it comes to seasons, and I love nautical. I live at the beach. It's just, I love it. So that means I'm drawn to a lot of those pieces, and that's why you'll just see so many of them. Now this one has not seen work since, I don't think in 2023 at all. I started this the end of last year, and I'm almost sure it hasn't been pulled out. Well, the title is Turkey Day, so it was perfect for Scattergories, and I do enjoy Cottage Garden samplings, as you can tell, right? You've seen a few already, so why not bring out the turkey? And now we're barreling towards turkey season anyway, and Thanksgiving and all of that, so it's a good time to pull it out. And this is no joke. When I looked at the pattern, I got a little intimidated, to be honest with you. And I did everything up here first. Oh, I didn't fill in. Oh no, that's the way it is. And I had kind of hesitated with the turkey, but I did some more this week, and I think I have a plan. I think I have a plan of how I'm going to tackle, because that is full coverage. That is completely full coverage. These pieces, and I noticed, because I think there's a squirrel in this, right? That's part of this series too. And quite a few of these pieces, they're full coverage. You know, they look small and they look like they'd be quick stitches, but I know I've heard in some of these other pieces, monthly, this series, people say that you think that you'll go a lot faster and you don't realize how much stitching. Because look at this. This is all got to be stitched and multiple colors. But I love it so far. This is done on 18 count buttercream from To Die For Fabrics. I am super excited to check. I don't know if it was after Labor Day. So To Die For Fabrics took the July and August off of their hand dyeing store, and it's been on vacation. And so I'm super excited to see them come back. They do have a Facebook page. If you are looking for their fabrics, I do suggest you join that page, because they always talk about it. You know, when they open up again, I know they'll put it there as well. So you'll be able to see. But I love this color. This is 18 count version, but it's a beautiful fabric that could go with so many different directions and colors. I did finish the leaf up here, and then I'm filling in here. There's one grayish color that's going to blend in a little bit on the screen, but that's more of kind of the outline anyway. Anything inside here you'll see. And then I wanted to do this because I was a little worried. I had this part of the turkey and this part. And then I think in my head, what if they don't match and I have to fudge this entire turkey? So I said, I'm going to do this little bridge area. And sigh of relief, it did all match. So I was super excited about that. It's the little things. Now, what's funny is this chart also has a mistake in it. Now, since I don't know if they've done new printings on this, so it may have changed by now, but I went to stitch, I think it was over here, this kind of these browns, and it was a bright blue. And I knew this section had the brighter blue, but I was like, I don't think it's up there. So I did go online again, Cottage Garden Samplings, I Googled them, went to their website, to their correction section, and that is incorrect. That was incorrect on the chart. So if you're stitching this and you're up here and you get a blue color, I think like $7.99 or something, and you're like, whoa, that is not what it is, check the website. It does give it. And so I was able to write in my notes. I think oh, wait a minute. So instead of, yeah, $7.79 is what they meant to say. Otherwise, I am just stitching the DMC alternatives for that. And I actually really, really enjoyed that stitch this week, so I could see bringing that out more now as that we're getting into the fall season anyway. All right, we're almost there. I have 3 more pieces. I did have one more start for August. You can see why I didn't show you the extra pieces, because we'd be here for 2 hours. And this was on my list to start for August. I hemmed and I hawed because I wasn't sure about the fabrics. This is Nautical Tier by Erin Elizabeth Designs. I got the digital version, which is why I'm showing you on the computer, on the iPad. And I did end up going with the Compelling Conchis. So this is 18 count Compelling Conchis, again, from Those Missing Stitches. And look at, I got that's almost 500 stitches right there. Look at how tiny this is. I never really thought about it. I was like, oh, those tier trays, they look like they'd be kind of big. And I'm stitching, you know, the tiered tree from the Wizard of Oz one. Is that Tiny Modernist? I don't remember, but it's much bigger. So when I cut the fabric for this, I was like, whoa, this is tiny. But this is the first tier. Then we'll have another one and another one, and this will be scrapbooked. So I don't know. I might have cut it a little tight. I think I gave myself probably too much up top here. I'm not sure why I gave myself that much. But this is very blocky. So this will be a very quick stitch because there's a lot of different blacks of color, which is really nice, because I did this, I think, might have been one stitching session. I might have been on a Zoom, maybe. I don't remember exactly when I started this. So that's where it is. And I don't know, you know, again, it's a summer, obviously, it's nautical. So maybe if I want something that's just small, and that could be a finish by the end of the year, but I don't know, given that it's nautical. Speaking of finishes, here's my second finish. So I'm going to show you the magazine version first. This was Butterfly, and it was from, let me show you the cover, Just Cross Stitch magazine from August of 2021. So it's that one right there. And which is super cute. I thought that was cute. But this was the first one I had to stitch. I loved this. I did change the fabric. I know you're shocked, because I really wanted a different look for it. And I think it's pretty here, obviously, because it was the first thing I had to stitch. But I actually really like the fabric I chose because I feel like it makes it pop a little bit more. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? This is done. So this is an 18 count unnamed fabric from Coffee Crafts Fabrics. They are a UK based hand dyer, and that you can find them on Facebook. And so the one thing that technically is not done is at the very tippy top of the antenna there, they had French knots. Now, you know I despise French knots. You know that colonial knots I've tried. I stitch lefty, and for some reason in my brain, it just doesn't make sense. I know I have been given I was sent a video to watch, which I haven't watched yet, that really helped somebody who had trouble. So I will watch that. But I have two trains of thought. One, I want to look, this will be scrapbooked with pictures. This is a combination picture and stitching scrapbook page layout. And I want to see the butterflies, what they look like on the picture. If this is what they look like, then I will keep it as is. Otherwise, I did buy some teeny tiny beads from Michael's, and I would pop a bead on in the end of each of those. But it's done. It's done, it's done. Now, I'm so excited too. So if you watch Heather, the 20-minute stitcher, you would have heard about this. And if you've watched me, you know I've talked about this because I'm a fan of Heather's, and it's a fun stitch along. So Heather joined with Michelle Bendy Stitchy. That's the name of her Flosstube. If you don't know, I'm sure you do. Michelle's been around a long time, designs his beautiful work. And Michelle does more like a junk journal scrapbooking for her smalls. Mine's a little bit different style with my scrapbooking. Mine, I do any size, and I do it a little bit more in the traditional scrapbook versus a junk journal look, which I do have some books like that, but these I wanted to do a little bit differently. So, but you can see, I think she's done flip throughs of hers, and they're really cool. But anyway, so they have combined to do a stitch along to try to work on your works in progress, right? Your open projects. And it's called Whip Down Sal 2023. And I made myself a little library card, and this is going to go in my stitching planner at the end of the year. And so maybe by the finishes section, or I'm not sure exactly where it'll go, but it'll go somewhere in the planner. So I thought that'd be fun. But it's the hashtag Whip Down 2023 stitch along. It is run by Heather, the 20-minute stitcher, and Michelle Bendy Stitchy. And so far I have 4 pieces done from this stitch along. Now Heather, she took it one step further, and she has a little Google document that you can fill out and say how many finishes you think you would do by the end of the year. And if you accomplish that goal, and she's not going to sit there and all you have to do is do a number. You don't even have to say which ones. So maybe it changes in the course of the next several months. If you've accomplished your goal by the end of the year, she's going to do something little fun stitchy to send to you in 2024. Which, you know, I thought it was fun just to kind of hold myself accountable. My number on the Google form was 8, so I am halfway done. I have 4. See, I can't cheat, Heather, because I'm actually showing this as I go along. So I need to find a place to put this so I don't lose it. If I do more, I'll just continue writing this until the end of the year, and we'll see what we get. Hopefully I don't go on to the back side, because I would do something. I'd actually probably cut and do more of a bottom one, because this is not going to be flippable. I could put it in a pocket, I suppose, if I wanted to make it flippable, but I might just want to attach it straight on in the planner. So I'm super excited to get this finished. I cannot wait. I don't know where the pictures are. I've put them in a really safe place. We know how that goes. But I'm super excited to try to get that one scrapbooked. Maybe I'll do a little Flosstube extra if I think about it on that. All right. And then my very last piece. Yes, my stitching alone, we're going to go into an hour. Is Blue Dreams from Barbaraana. I started this, when did we start this? Did we start it August 1st, July 1st? We started it as a Zoom, and I said, I have a hashtag, it's hashtag stitchbarbaraana, and you can just stitch any Barbaraana with that, and you can continue to use it, which would be a lot of fun. I am really becoming a fan of Barbaraana. When I first came back to stitching, and as I saw more and more patterns, I wasn't a huge fan of Barbaraana. And then as I watched these being stitched by others, I said, wow, these are beautiful. And I tried Sailing Dreams as I think my first one, and I adored it. And when this one came out, of course, it's nautical, right? You know I had to do it. My fabric is not quite as dark as the called for, but I love it. That's where I am. This is 18 Count Tropical by Fabrics by Stephanie. And I haven't completely finished down here, her sweater and all the little bits down here, but this is the bottom. So it's not tall this way. It's going to extend out. And I think in my stitching session, I finished, well, I had to finish this cloud. It was driving me nuts. It was halfway done. So I finished that. And then I started doing all of these types of blues and all of that over there as well. And I think I did some fill in here back and forth. But I really am excited to get into all these different shades of blues and all the fun stuff in there. And I think that's really going to pop against this fabric color. So that's what that looks like. And again, it'll come out when it comes out. I don't know exactly when, but I love that piece. I really do enjoy stitching on it every time I stitch it. Oh, and I finished her face. So I had little bits and pieces of her face that had to get done, but now she's completely done. The shading that Barbaraana does is phenomenal. If you are interested, actually, I hadn't known about this, and somebody on my Facebook group had mentioned it, that they are participating, and they wanted to know if anybody else was. But Barbaraana has a new stitch along that she is doing. If you go to Creative Poppy, and I'm going to write this down so I know to remember to put the link in the description box, but Creative Poppy is where you can find Barbaraana digitals. So you don't have to get the, if you prefer digital, that's where you get them. And she's doing it's a mystery stitch along, although it's looking like it's something Cleopatra-ish is my guess. And it's in 3 different parts. I think it starts September 15th, if I remember correctly. And some of her other pieces that are now in her regular line were stitch alongs at one point or another. So she will eventually. I'm really intrigued, and I love Barbaraana, but I'm not a fan of mystery stitch alongs, but I might get this one and start. I like to see the flosses though, and kind of the design. Maybe I'll wait till the first piece comes out, because I can't decide fabric color, because I go different all the time. I need to see part of the pattern and the flosses before I go fabric. So I'm intrigued, and I think I do want to participate, but I'm just not sure which direction I would go with that. So we will see on that. So that's a fun thing coming. If you are interested in stitch-alongs, if you like mystery stitch-alongs and you like Barbaraana, Creative Poppy, go there and you can get the information on the stitch-along, and that's where you can buy it too. All right, so that is my current stitching that I did for the week. What are my plans? I have quite a few plans. I have so many pieces of stuff here. All right, I'm gonna move what I've stitched over so that I can show you my plans. I actually have 3 starts planned for today because I'm doing 3 different stitch-alongs with people. And so September 1st is just a nice little starting off point. So I have 3 different pieces to show you for that. 1 I'll show you when I get to shopping, and 2 I'll show you, plus a few other things I plan in September. So the first one that I'm starting today with Lisa, Lost in Stitches. I do have her name down. She's so fun to watch on Flosstube. If you're not watching her, check Lisa out. I'll link her. Lisa and I are starting this today. I know you're gonna be shocked. I'm stitching this. It's kind of scrappy at this point, but I mean, this is gonna be long and thin, so this is perfect. I'm stitching it on Nantucket Sky by Fabrics by Stephanie, 18 count. And I am changing some of the colors. I stitched this little bit right here as a trading card piece. It's not fully finished yet. And I realized that the colors were a bit primmer than I wanted. So I really like, well, I really like the, these colors are from Erin Elizabeth. They're the brights. I want to say that's probably 321. So that is an option for me. The other option I have, can I find the piece here? Oh, right here, is this is a, I don't remember what the color is, but that's also fun. It's a little bit more of a rosy red. So I might do that. I definitely want to change that. And I want to say that the lighthouse is more in a cream, and I want that in a white. And then as I go along, I will pick and choose. Some of these I will use the called for DMC alternatives because I think it's charted in other things. Yeah, it's charted in other things. I'll use the DMC alternatives, but I may make some changes as I go. I'll tell you whenever I make any changes. So that's the first start today. But I always start in the left side, so I know it's between two different reds and a white. So that's an easy part for me to decide on and to change. So that's my first start today. We'll see how much I get done of each of these pieces today. This next one is, I'm trying to put this back so that I don't lose the stuff with it. And the next one I haven't decided 100% on the fabric. I know, I'm starting today. You'd think I'd have had a fabric. So this is a piece I'm starting with Beth again, the Steadfast Stitcher. And there are others, I believe, stitching it as well. And this is Winter Sampler from Cressetta Go-Go, which is how perfect, because now we are in Sampler September. And the samplers I stitch are a lot of times a little bit less your traditional samplers, but they're called samplers, so I'm working with it. And that way I can join along with all the Sampler September stitchers. So this is what it looks like. Now there's a lot of white on here, so I was hemming and hawing on the color. I thought of blue, but some of the colors of the flosses had me kind of rethinking. White needs to show up, plus some of the other colors. So then I was thinking, well, let's take a step from blue and go gray. And I have 3 different options. These are my 3 grays to choose from. This one is less of a bluey gray. These 2 are more bluey grays. This one's a little darker, a little lighter. So I had the flosses on this, and I'm gonna make one more floss toss on this. I'll probably start this tonight, so I have a few hours to think about it. So I think the darker grays, especially these 2, I think the white would show up just fine. Oops, just fine on them. This one is a To Die For, and this one is Dying for Cross Stitch. My other option, which is always a good option, is Artemis from Bestitchme. So it'll be a surprise to all of us. I'm not sure what's happening there. I am going to end up with things on the floor because this is getting... Now these next ones I don't have fabric for yet. They're not getting started today, so it doesn't really matter. I finally get to start the last of the 4 Quakers. This is Autumn Quaker from Jardin Privé. I kind of call this a sampler because it has the motifs and it has the alphabet. So I'm calling it kind of an Autumn Quaker sampler-ish thing. But if you have not been with me, I've stitched the other 3 seasons on bright colors that are associated with the season with DMC 823. So this one will be a shade of orange somehow. Coral. I would guess like a bright-ish coral. Although Sunstone, I was thinking that Sunstone might be nice. I have a few different options, so I have to pull them out and just throw the 823 on there and see which one I like the best. Then I have, this is my monthly start for the Garden Journal. This is September's Morning Glories. Isn't that pretty? I'm thinking Friendship Green on this one. I think all those colors would pop. It's darker green on there, and I do like Friendship Green, so I think that's where I'll go on that. I think the blues and the purples would look nice on that. So, you know, you seem to always come back to some of your tried and trues. And then this one, I've been really wanting to start. I don't know what fabric to do. It's not going to show its beauty at all. This is the Twisted Rainbow sampler. This is the cross stitch version, not the specialty stitch version. I have both of them. You know, one goes in one direction and then another design goes in the other direction, I believe. So it doesn't really matter which one I start or stitch, but I don't want to do it on black. I was thinking a gray. I want to take the flosses, which are beautiful. I mean, I'm doing DMCs. I can't remember what it's charted in. But I mean, look at all these different brights and flosses. So I'm thinking a gray. I wonder if Artemis might look nice actually on this, because you just want something backgroundy to let you know what? And that might be a half yard. I'm gonna keep Artemis out and do a floss toss on that. Thank you. See, I'm talking it out with you as we go. So that's that. The other start I have today, I'll show you in just a minute when I get down this pile of things I bought. First I bought the Sulkies. If you remember, can I find here it is. I wasn't sure if I was gonna fill in the windows on this house, and I ended up taking Sulky. And I wanted something that was kind of a nice, kind of light bright, and I didn't want to do 2 strands of something. And I said, well, Sulky on 18 count, you know, you do the 1 strand Sulky. So that's the color I used. And I went on Amazon and I looked at these colors because of course I have Sulkies, but do I have the color I wanted? No, nothing near it. So I thought these were really pretty. So I got this set right here, and there's some fun, pretty colors that I don't think I have. So how do you store Sulkies? I've kept them in here for now, but I mean, that's not how I want to store them. Plus I have this spin right here, has my Sulkies in it, but it's kind of messy and they fall all over the place. So if you have a great plan for storing Sulkies, I would love to know. So I did get that. Now, I did get in yesterday's mail my Bestitchme, I think it was yesterday, fabric of the month, and it is so beautiful. I was watching Mandy yesterday, Mandy Parker, she just came out, hi Mandy, with a video, and I always love to watch Mandy. If you want to see some beautiful full coverage especially, she does everything, but her full coverages, boy oh boy, they're beautiful. She showed this yesterday, and I was like, I know, it's so beautiful, isn't it? So if you don't want to see, look away. I get the colors. This is what it's called. I get 18 count. Mandy gets 16, but I think they were pretty similar in color. Look at how beautiful this is. I have no idea what I'm stitching on this, but it is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. I really hope Brandy puts that in her regular line because it is absolutely beautiful. You can look, it's back. It's gone. So that was that. That came in. And then I had placed an order. I was watching Megan, Seattle Stitcher. Well, was watching. I watch her videos. And she really likes Hollis Hands Creates. And I had never ordered from Hollis Hand. And I was looking for the cross-stitch, the Halloween cross-stitch magazine. And so I said, I'm going to look and see if they have it. And lo and behold, they did. But of course, could I just buy that? No, I had to buy some other stuff. So I have there's a start in there that I'll talk about in a minute. So I just wanted to show you what else. I did pick up, and you'll see these in a future giveaway. I picked up a couple of classic colorworks, Just Rust and Pumpkin Harvest. So as we lead up to my pumpkin birthday stitch along, I'll probably do those as a giveaway. So keep out looking. And then I picked up a couple of charts. This is a beast of a house, but it was just something about it caught my attention. Summer Moon from Plum Street. I have very eclectic tastes. I like a little bit of everything. Because, you know, I mean, if you think about me and brights and everything else, you'd say, Laura, that is not bright. Then I like From the Heart, Needle Art by Wendy. I like her little Quakers. And this one was cute. It's called Grateful Quaker. Isn't that pretty? I don't know what I'd stitch that on, so I might have to change some of the colors. But I don't know, because these are some lovely colors. They're a lot of fun. And I thought, why not share one with you all? So I did buy an extra one for you all. You'll see that as we get going in the fall at some point as well. So keep an eye out for that. And then, you know, I'm always on the hunt for fabrics, because, you know, I cannot have enough fabrics. That's my, you know how some people love to buy whatever it is, you know, silks or project bags or certain charts, you know. Me, it's fabric. That's what I am drawn to each and every time. And then I buy bits and pieces and little bits of other stuff. So, of course, I had to check what she had in 18 count fabric, and she had Fox and Rabbit, which I have never stitched on Fox and Rabbit. I said, well, this is a perfect time to try. So I ended up getting 2 different pieces that they had in 18 count. This, now you're not going to be surprised at all with the shades. This one is called True Blue. Isn't that pretty? This is very similar to the fabric that I'm stitching my 2023 Santa on. So if I didn't have that other one, you could easily do it on this. This is 18 count True Blue, and it would look beautiful with that. The white would pop, and so would all the other Santa pieces. And then this one is called Ocean Air, and it is a very nice light blue. It's beautiful. This Aida is very nice. It's not super stiff, but it is not the floppy Aida. It's a nice in-between process after they've dyed it. So I'm looking forward to stitching on these pieces. They are beautiful. And now I'm hooked on Fox and Rabbit. Has some beautiful feeling Aida. So now I have to look for Fox and Rabbit. Right. And then I alluded to this. The whole reason I went shopping was I wanted to get the Halloween 2023 special issue. I had seen a couple flip throughs, and there was enough in there that I thought would be fun that I'd want to stitch. And Sarah from Millennial Stitchers is actually, starting today, she is doing a stitch along. She is stitching this piece, but she invited people to stitch on anything from this magazine. And I don't remember off the top of my head the, let me look in the back because then it'll say what page the piece is on. I don't remember the name of the hashtag because it's a really long hashtag. I'll have to look it up, and I'll let you know when I start stitching. Where's the piece I want? Here it is. I saw this piece, and I thought it was just adorable. And so I said, you know what? This is the first one I'm going to stitch. Now, very rarely do I say I have to stitch on the fabric that the model was stitched on. But in this case, I said, let's do it. So I had to look it up. There's a hand dyer called Oblong Meow, and they are on Etsy, and this is called Ectoplasm. Now mine's a little bit brighter and less green. It's more of the bright green, but that's all right. Given what the design is, yes, it's that wild in person. I'm not gonna lie, it is that wild. This will be fun though if you wanted to try, because it's not gonna use the whole thing. I could see trying some trading cards on this too, because that's a great way to try some crazy fabrics and see how you can mix and match. But it is going to be fun however you look at it on this fabric. But you see how this one's a little bit greener than this one? It's like this is more bright. But I'm going to stitch that. And so that's also a start today. It's not a huge stitch. What is it? It is designed by L. Noonan of Stitch Sprout, if you're interested in knowing that. And it is 89 by 65. So it's not a humongous piece at all. DMC and Sullivan's, so that's easy enough too. So yeah, so that is my third start for today. And so that means what? 6 starts planned for September, and we'll see from there. Well, we know we'll get these 3 today, and then the other 3, I know Autumn Quaker will get started. And then it's just a matter, and so will Morning Glory. It's a matter of finding the right fabric for the twisted band, rainbow sampler. So that's my plans. Whew, I got lots of plans. And for somebody who doesn't plan and stitches what she wants when she wants, I have a lot of plans. All right. Oh, that's plans and shopping. I've moved on from plans. Oh, well, because I finished on plans. So that was it for shopping. That's what we have. I think I have a couple pieces that I did order for from the August market thing. There was a lot of fun stuff, but I ordered I did a little order from Top Knot Stitcher, which I think would be shipping soon because those were not, I think that was supposed to ship by the end of this week. So, because that was stuff that was not part of the marketplace. So hopefully that's coming soon. And then I did place an order with Barefoot Needle Arts with some stuff that it'll take a little bit longer because some of it has a couple pieces that are market pieces and then some was non-market, right? So it'll all come at once. So, and then from there, I'll just pick and choose what I buy. It's not like it's going anywhere, so I don't need to just buy everything all at once. Alrighty, giveaways. So the first thing, let me get the bowl. It's been 2 weeks, so, you know, you've had plenty of time to put your name in. This is for a $10 gift certificate from Top Knot Stitcher. I do enjoy I've only ordered a few times because I try to mix everything around from Abby Top Knot Stitcher, but she seems to be really on the ball and really good to deal with. So I am giving away a $10 gift certificate to her shop. And let me put the bowl down so I can pick a name. Let me pull everything apart. And the winner is, let me close up my iPad so that I can just put the name there. I guess we'll do it this way. Barbie Crab, congratulations. So if you could reach out to me with your email address, I can't remember, I've done this before. I don't know if I get a code or if I put your email in when I buy it. Just reach out to me and then I'll figure out how to get that to you. So a $10 gift certificate to Abby Top Knot Stitcher. Congratulations, Barbie. All right, next, I'm kind of going in the same vein here. I placed an order for the very first time at Barefoot Needle Arts, and I really enjoyed the experience. The website was easy to navigate, and I've heard so many people talk about it that I wanted to give a gift certificate from them. So if either whether you enjoy stitching, buying from them, or you've never used them before, I'm going to give a $10 gift certificate away to Barefoot Needle Arts. So if you say the word beach, because I may or may not have something that's Christmassy but beachy, kind of an ornamenty thing coming, say the word beach and I will put your name in the blue bowl and I will pick a winner for the $10 gift certificate to Barefoot Needle Arts next video. Alrighty, so that's it. That's all the stitching. Ooh. So if you stayed for all of that, thank you so much. And if you don't want to stay for the life stuff, then I hope you have a fantastic week. If you're in the US, happy holiday weekend, because it is a holiday weekend this weekend. And I wish you well and lots of stitching, and I'll see you next week. Okay, so life. So yes, so Friday we went up to, so Connor goes to school in Massachusetts, but we were doing this in parts. So we went up to Connecticut on Friday. My in-laws were in Ireland, just came back safe and sound, which is good. But their house was empty, so you know, we said we're gonna stay there. One, it keeps their house occupied for the last weekend before they come back, as well as, you know, this way it saves us money on hotels, right? So Connor was getting the car this year for school. I know, makes me a little nervous because now he can travel all over Massachusetts. But so he had to do, that car had to drive up, plus we needed another car because Mo and I needed to come back home. So Connor had never done the drive from Delaware up, so he drove from Delaware to Connecticut completely with Mo in the car so that he got a chance to see what it's like, because at some point he's going to be having to make the trip, and I drove the van up. So there was no stitching on the way up. And traffic was tight there at the end, especially in Connecticut, a little bit in New Jersey. So it took us probably a good six and a half hours. It was kind of a long trip that day, but we got there safe and sound, and, you know, just did some easy takeout that night. And I think I did a little bit of a Zoom, Beth's Zoom that night, but I was tired. So it was an early-ish night. And then the next morning we got up and we did the second half of our leg. So we went from Connecticut up to Worcester because Connor goes to school in Worcester, and he did the drive again from there with Mo in the car with him, and I drove the van up because we definitely needed the van because he had stuff in storage that he kept over the summer. He didn't bring it down. He kept it in Massachusetts, so that would have to come back and forth to his room. And so if you're new, I have some problems with my hip and some arthritis in the hip, so I'm a little bit gimpy, and I'm currently doing physical therapy for that. But that, you know, plays into getting Connor ready now with his dorm, well, his room. I call it a dorm, but it's not. So Connor is a junior this year, and this year he is not in a dorm. It's in campus housing, but what they did is it's kind of like an old house, I'd say, that was converted, and the very bottom by the street level has actually got businesses in it, and then the second and third level have rooms. And on the second and third, although it's first floor and second floor because of where you get in, each of those floors has maybe like 5 rooms in them, some doubles, some singles, and then it has a living room, kitchen, kind of pantry area, bathroom, the whole bit. And so Connor is on the second level. He was the first one there, so I don't know who else is going to be on his floor. And same type of situation, like 5 different rooms, and then all of the other, common areas, and so on and so forth. Well, this is an old house. He had to go up a flight of stairs, and it was like one of those windy things, and the steps were about this long, this wide, around this time. And so I said, there is no way I am carrying things up and down this staircase with my hip. 1, I might fall, and 2, it'll just aggravate it too much. So I would take everything. I would take it from the car to the door, because we were able to park pretty close. This is on a corner type, this house. And then Mo and Connor would bring it up and down. And then once everything was, then I went up to the room and stuff. But there was just no way. I did the first walk up to, see his room and see what's what. And I pretty much said, no way are you going to see me carrying these, anything up those steps without me completely ending up not able to walk at all. But so we got in there early, which was good. So, we got everything done. It was about lunchtime, so we said, oh, let's take Connor to lunch. And so we took him to lunch. We had a really nice lunch, and then I think we also took him to Walmart, grab a few things that that we didn't have there. And so on and so forth. Dropped him off, and then we headed back to Connecticut. So that was Saturday, and hopefully all is well. I haven't really heard much, but that's okay. I want to get him settled in and everything else type of thing. Sunday, I went and visited my mom. For those of you who don't know, my mom is in a nursing home. And so, I wanted to see her. I hadn't seen her for a bit. So Mo and I had a really lovely visit that morning with her. It was a beautiful morning. We were able to take her outside. They have a really lovely kind of courtyard area with all sorts of, whoever takes care of it has a green thumb, because they have beautiful, beautiful flowers, all sorts of marigolds, and all sorts of different things were out. And it was cool, but not cold. It was just beautiful. So that was really nice. And we got a chance to see Mom. And then there was a family luncheon from my dad's side of the family. My parents were divorced when I was quite young. And my dad was not able to make it up because he had to have some surgery on his back. But I got to see a bunch of other family members. So it was really nice. Mom and I went. We went to lunch, hung out. Lots of small children, which they're adorable. And now it's kind of nice because we can sit back and be like, whew, we don't have to worry about what they're doing in the same way as when you're their parent, right? You kind of get to chill and you can enjoy them and not have to worry about that extra step. So it was kind of nice. Well, they were kind of a little running ragged, but we all went through that, right? But so it was really nice visiting, and we had a good time. And then first thing Monday morning, we drove back to Delaware. Now Mo drove. So I got to stitch, which was a lot of fun. I got a good amount accomplished in the car, and yeah, so we're back. I have started physical therapy on a more regular basis now for my hip, and I am motivated to see if I can get some range of motion back into this hip and get those muscles balanced again. And between those two things, then I go back to the doctor and we'll see what he says. I may not need surgery, or if I do, my joints will be in a really good place, I think, with me doing my work. I'm going twice a week, but I will do all my exercises every day just to make sure that we kind of progress along. So that's my world in September, is physical therapy and working on the hip and all of that, along with some stitching, and I don't know what else. This is Labor Day weekend this weekend, so Mo does have Monday off. I have no idea what we're doing. This weekend, I know we are going up to Dover. We need to go to a couple of stores that are not down here. And so I'm super excited because there's a Joann's up there. So I've already warned Mo, bring a book or bring something to do because I'm going into Joann's. I've already seen their sales. They have interfacing on sale, so I'm going to see if they have the interfacing that I use. They have fabric on sale, and when I do ornaments, a lot of times I use fabric. And they also have some paper crafting. So I'm trying to scrapbook my stitches. I need to do that. So super exciting. Maybe I'll have some stuff to show you next week. But on that note, I don't know if you can hear right outside the window, they've decided to hit the side yard between me and the house next to us. So it's probably a good time for me to end, and it's long enough at this point. I hope you got some good stitching in. I hope you're well. I hope you are safe. I hope all is going well for you wherever you are. For my friends in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, I hope that things are okay after the storm. And I would have missed my California friends from last week as well. I hope everybody is doing well with all of these different storms coming in. We went to the beach yesterday afternoon, and whoo, I don't know if it's from, it might be from Franklin, but the waves were fierce. The surf was fierce, and the wind, oh my goodness. I eventually said to Mo, I have to go because I didn't have anything covering my ears, and the wind was starting to hurt my ears. It was amazing though. Those waves were crashing. But I hope all is well, and you made it through unscathed with all the storms. And all my friends in areas of fire, please take care. I'm thinking about you. Lots of people to hold in my thoughts at the moment. So I hope you all are doing well. And that's it. I hope you get a wonderful amount of stitching done this week. If you get a chance, please remember that you are important and you need to take care of yourself and do something just for you every single day. Whatever that is, whether it's stitching or whatever brings you joy, please do that so that you will feel better. That's the way we go for it. But until next time, happy stitching.